If you want to continue to follow our adventure, click subscribe. So you don't miss anything, click the bell notification.
I thought today I would bring you a topic that is very controversial. Stuff versus safety. This conversation is going to go in a few different directions, but it all wraps around the idea of stuff, having things, belongings, or not having belongings. Folks will say, okay, Rob, you need a canopy, you need a barbecue pit, you need solar panels that you can spread out, and they'll just list off things after things after things that I gotta have. And all these things would be sitting outside. And then there's the opposite side of the argument, which is, Rob, you need to really worry about your safety, that you can get into your truck, start the key, and drive off, which I can't because of stuff. Now, the reason I can't just drive off, two reasons. One, I have my generator and I lock it to the wheel of my truck, and I know, oh my goodness, why would you do that? You can't leave if you have it locked. The lock takes all of 2 seconds to unlock. And my keys, if this situation actually occurred where I had to get out of my camper, now remember, I would have to secure my camper a little bit. I got to latch my refrigerator so it doesn't fall over and things fall apart and it'd be disastrous. So even if I had to leave, I would still have to secure things so I could leave. And then I would walk out of the camper with my keys in my hand, unlock the generator from the tire, get in the truck, and drive off, leaving my generator behind. The second thing I would have to do is I have 2 jacks underneath the back of my truck, and they stabilize the truck, keep it from rocking around so much. And I absolutely feel like I have to have that, because the wind wobbles you around so much, you'll get motion sickness. And little things, if I'm on the computer or I'm watching a video and the truck wobbles or Carolyn moves, the whole thing wobbles around, and I get motion sickness. So I put these jacks under there, and it really stabilizes it. The third thing I have, a step ladder, and I use this step ladder to get Carolyn and I can get in and out of the back of the truck. This is all that we have that we would have to worry about. Occasionally we'll have a bucket of water underneath the tailgate, but the more stuff that you have, the more stuff you leave behind. And so the other day I saw this Class C come out, and they rolled out a carpet and their canopy, which is attached to their Class C. So if they had to leave, they would actually have to roll this thing up or be flapping in the wind and tearing it. I mean, they had lanterns and a barbecue thing. Now, I assume what it is a camping trip. I'm not sure they were nomads. What is more relaxing out here? Having a bunch of stuff or not having anything? Well, here's what I've come up with. And something for you to consider when you live the nomadic lifestyle. When we had the pop-up camper took forever to open up and close down. And of course, we had our shower tent, the Moray on-demand water heater. We had a barbecue pit. We had a tent that we put underneath one of the slide outs on the pop-up, where we could put extra stuff in, empty buckets, and so we had a lot of junk laying around, and it would take us half a day to set everything up and then break it down. Here's the problem that Carolyn and I really had with the pop-up camper, was the thought process of having to break everything down every 2 weeks or every week. I mean, if we'd have went to Texas where they had these 3-day stay limits, we wouldn't have done it in the pop-up because it was such a hassle. So now it takes us about 15 to 20 minutes to pack up and leave. Now, this is really important to us because I like to get up early in the morning. I get up at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. I'll do some my online work. So by 7 o'clock, I wake Carolyn up, say, okay, Carolyn, I want to leave by 8 o'clock. I pour her a cup of coffee. We drink a cup of coffee. It takes 15 minutes to drink a cup of coffee. And then I go outside, and she'll be flipping around on Facebook for a little while. She'll strap in the refrigerator, just kind of piddling along until I can get the outside broke down. And so I pack up the generator, and I get the step stool, and I lower the jacks. And by the time I'm done with all that, it's 7:45, almost 8 o'clock. And Carolyn's starting to come out of the camper, and she gets in the front seat. I can pack up the little miscellaneous items just to make sure everything's secure, and by 8 o'clock, we're on the road. So in 45 minutes, we're on the road. Now that being said, if it was an emergency, it takes 15 minutes at most. And this is the key to my lifestyle, is it reduced the amount of stress, having fewer things sitting outside. It's not so much a safety concern or a convenience concern. The two things that cause the most stress in the American people is money and work. So how does having stuff cause stress? Well, you have to go out and buy the stuff. And when you buy stuff, you have to work for it. You have to spend money. So the two things that cause stress, work and money, is wrapped up in stuff. And then it even gets worse. Now I just talked about how if I had a bunch of stuff and I would a barbecue pit and a carpet and a canopy and a shower tent and I had all this stuff, well now I would have to go break that down every time I wanted to leave a campground. Oh, that's stress, that's work, and that causes stress. And I don't want stress. But to minimize my stress, when I want to leave, I don't have to sit there and, oh my goodness, I got to get this put away. I got to get this put away. Where's this? This thing won't fit. Why won't it fit in this spot anymore? And so you're constantly freaked out over stuff. Now, I'll tell you the most stressful part is when a ranger comes out and says, okay, I need you to leave in 2 hours. That has happened. It happened in Mississippi. They were getting ready to shut down the national forest because of bad storms. I've talked about this many times. Well, if I'd have had a bunch of stuff that I would have had to break down, and it would have taken me half a day to break it down like it was a camping trip, I would have been stressed because I would have had to been out of there 2 hours. Open the door, said, Carolyn, the ranger says we have to be out here by 11. Oh, okay. She hops out of the truck and gets in the front. I take the 2 jacks, I take the step ladder, and I take the generator. I put it in the back of the truck, close the tailgate, and within 15 minutes, we're off and rolling. My recommendation as a nomad is to minimize the amount of stuff. Make everything multi-purpose. Thanks for watching. Click like if you like the video, and happy travels.